Hello, this is Debbie. Welcome to Move or Improve with Debbie. I'm your host, Debbie Miller, and today I'm going to talk about the housing market. Everybody's houses are selling like hotcakes, and they're getting multiple offers and selling quickly, which is wonderful. Everything is pretty much selling with minimal effort. I applaud those who still strive for marketing excellence, even when they don't need to expend a lot of energy on it. But the average number of days on the market is very short, and many properties are getting multiple offers. And if you haven't experienced a down market, in other words, a buyer's market, you have no idea what it's like. So the journey from meeting the seller for the first time to getting to the closing may take, I don't want to say that. I want to exit that. Okay. Selling a home in a seller's market like today, it's concentrated around managing a high volume of offers and meeting the net greatest amount of money possible. That's what you want as a seller. But if you sell a home in a buyer's market, it's focused on keeping the sellers happy after week as their house can sit for months on end while you're wondering if it will ever close. And sellers, you get overly stressed in that kind of market. So you want to pay attention to what the realtor is going to do if it's a slower market. Right now, it's a fast market. The sellers are selling quickly. But how long is that going to last? Well, let's talk about that today. In the U.S., more than half of the households, 65 million, are headed by somebody 50 years of age or older. By 2030, this demographic will be more than 130 million. Their housing preferences are as varied as their finances, health, and living situations. They all required and want different types of housing to meet their needs both now and as they age. Unfortunately, affordable housing that is physically accessible and conveniently located near support and services is lacking. Housing costs are high, and they force a third of the adults over the age of 50 to spend more than 30% of their income for housing that may or may not be suitable for them. Spending this much can often require them to cut back on food or making improvements to their current home to ensure safety for the long term. Many of them don't or shouldn't drive, which can make them feel isolated from support services or their friends or their family. Younger baby boomers in their 50s may not be able to pay for the right kind of housing or the long-term care they need when they retire. Heads of households who are now in their 50s to mid-60s may struggle to pay for housing and basic living needs. Affordable, accessible housing in age-friendly areas close to hospitals and doctors is in short supply. Baby boomers who own their home and are at least 65 years of age, you need to be able to plan on covering the costs of in-home assistance for about 9 years or assisted living between 6 and 7 years if you've saved for retirement. Much of the existing housing stock is also aging, and it was not built to accommodate the ability to age in place. So the cost to remodel may not be in the budget. But there's a diverse number of living arrangements to consider. Most adults in their 50s have children living at home. Most households with people over the age of 60 live alone or as a couple. 44% of people over the age 85 are married or have a partner, and 43% are single. 75% of the people between ages of 50 and 64 live in single-family homes. 76% of people ages 65 to 79 also live in this type of housing, and 68% aged 80 or more stay in their single-family homes. They want to age in place. Many adults who are older choose co-housing arrangements, whether it be with children, parents, or other relatives. There's an increase in older adults who like to live like the women in the TV show, The Golden Girls. They group together, they're single, and they figure 3 of us is better than just one, and they share the rent, the utilities, and the space. Necessity is the mother of invention. As baby boomers age, they realize they're entering their golden years with more debt, not only mortgage debt, but personal debt. Multi-generational living arrangements are increasing as well. Adults 65 to 79 years of age range, they're the most likely age to live in a multi-generational environment. Now, that means at least 2 generations and maybe even 3 or more living under the same roof or on the same piece of land in their own space. Adults 65 to 79 often live in their own homes, and it could include younger family members. Older adults over 80 are more likely to live in someone else's home because they can't take care of it anymore. Many home buyers purchase a multi-generational home to take care of aging parents, to save on costs, or because adult children, for many reasons, are moving back home. 1 in 5 buyers aged 53 to 62 purchased a multi-generational home. The second largest share, according to the National Association of Realtors, were those buyers 72 to 92 years of age. A mixture of ages results in grandparents helping to get the grandchildren ready in the morning, or a younger member helps to care for an aging adult. Population of people living in multi-generational households has doubled since 1980, according to the Pew Research Center. Now, home ownership tends to rise as people age, but after the age of 80, home ownership drops and renting becomes more prevalent. But younger adults have not had the opportunity to build wealth for retirement through equity in their homes, so renting is going to be an option for them when they get older. And many older adults are less apt to move as they age, and that's going to be a problem down the road. They like their neighborhood, they like the familiar surroundings, and there really aren't that many options which might encourage them to use. I mean, you have active adult communities, master plan communities, condominiums, single-level homes in non-age restricted communities are harder to find, and they usually often require a lot of work to make them navigable on the interior. Senior apartments and independent living communities and assisted living facilities are increasing, but the demand far outweighs the supply. In 2009, the Census Bureau began tracking completions of this type of housing, and only 319,000 age-restricted units were added as new construction at that time. Clearly, the shortage is acute. Many baby boomers decide through necessity they have to continue working, either part-time or full-time, and they have a mortgage. That can result in not having the resources for other things like travel, food, medical needs, that sort of thing. And there's builders in the active adult arena, and they recognize this, and they're taking steps to fill a void in this area. For example, Del Webb is opening up 10 active adult communities in Florida, Massachusetts, Minnesota, New Jersey, Nevada, North Carolina, and Virginia. There are other builders who've developed housing solutions for baby boomers to live in multi-generational housing. A company called Welltower has been focusing on senior housing for the affluent, but now sees the middle-income senior market as an area full of opportunity. But until more housing is developed for seniors, they're going to stay put. They're not going to want to move. Baby boomers tend to be outside-the-box thinkers, and they will radically change the way they approach housing for older adults. The issue is, how fast is that going to happen? The graying of America begs for visionaries to diversify and develop housing for older renters and owners. Between now and the year 2040, the 65-plus age population will increase by about 90%. Housing is not going to be ready for it at the rate we're going today. The number of households aged 80 or more will be about 15 million. The creation of safe, accessible, affordable senior housing is a dilemma. According to the National Investment Center for Seniors Housing and Care at the University of Chicago, Harvard Medical School, and the University of Maryland School of Medicine, by 2029, which isn't that far away, there'll be roughly 14 million middle-income older adults in the U.S. Just over half of those will not have the financial resources to pay for seniors, and they're living in assisted living or other independent communities at today's average market rate. Many older household members rely on Social Security benefits, and sometimes that's their primary income source. But Social Security payments don't keep up with the rise in the rents. So when the housing cost eats up a large part of household budgets, older adults will sacrifice, like healthcare and medicine and baby and food, And baby boomers are just now recovering from the wealth they lost between 2006 and 2009. They have too much debt. Home equity may not have been recovered either. And larger homes sit on the market longer because younger buyers don't want or can't afford that kind of house. So this exacerbates the sales problem. More baby boomers are staying in their homes longer because they're working longer and they still have children at home. And these homebodies feel that there's few housing options for them if they sell. Eventually, though, the houses they live in will become too much to maintain and they will sell. But think about what might happen if boomers stay in their homes and then sell in a mass exodus when they're older. After all, baby boomers currently own 32 million homes, which is 2 of every 5 in the United States. And 85% of that 32 million want to age in place. So if only 5% of them sell at any given time, that would be an influx of about 1,600,000 homes flooding the market. Will the younger generations coming up through the ranks want this type of home? The millennials don't want McMansions right now, and oversized homes with too many rooms are not favored either. There may be many houses that either aren't sold or will sit on the market longer due to a lack of buyers interested in that type of home. It may be that financing programs will be developed that encourage millennials and others to purchase their homes so they can build equity to purchase a larger home when the baby boomers move out. But, if baby boomers can't get the price they want for their house, they may decide to wait it out until the economy improves. If it does, the boomers will have to choose. Do they want to stay where they are in houses that are too large, sell at a possible loss, or sell and then rent if they can't get a good price for their home? Two things are inevitable. Health issues or death will force them into making a decision. Demand for affordable, accessible housing will increase as the baby boomers start to turn 80, less than 10 years from now. Today, there is a serious shortage of accessible housing as well as smaller homes that would enable downsizing, especially in light of the growing numbers of older adults who will need it. Fewer than 5% of U.S. homes have single-floor living and the much-needed wider hallways and doorways. That number doesn't even include the electric switches, lever-style handles on doors, easy-to-use faucets or bathrooms with curbless showers that are needed. Clearly, there's a market for home modifications. According to the National Association of Home Builders, many contractors and others in the remodeling industry are doing more to make homes accessible, even if it's just improving access in the bathroom or a walkway or improving lighting inside and outside the home. Over half of owners older than 55 account for more than half of the home improvement. And that number is going to grow enormously in the next 5 to 10 years. According to the National Association of Realtors, at least 30 to 40% of home buyers are looking for multi-generational housing or a property that could be converted into housing for grandparents, parents, and children to all live under one roof. Many have focused on the overall lack of senior housing, and they consider that to be a major crisis facing the nation. But it's more than that. It's a lack of housing that middle-class baby boomers can afford. Yes, the ability of baby boomers to downsize depends on the availability of homes to downsize into, but there's a shortage of starter home inventory, and retirees are competing with Generation X, those buyers born between 1965 and 1980, and millennials born between 81 and 1996 for that available affordable housing. And that's one reason you're seeing, houses get 15 offers, 20 offers, and go substantially above the list price. And there's high land prices and regulatory constraints, which are a problem, and an increase in labor expenses, difficulty getting equipment and such as appliances. I know I just recently redid a condominium to get it ready for sale, and it was